Well, it would appear that I meant to take a nap, but I ended up just straight up falling asleep without recording the video for today at 8 p.m. Time is currently I think 3:42. So yeah, that's 7 hours. I guess I was really tired. Well, I better tell you what happened. So, in the morning, I woke up at around 7, and most of the time was simply just spent trying to wake up and by putting milk into a bowl of honey granola as my breakfast with some coffee. Then I got dressed and drove to work. So far, so good. My first 2 hours on the job, and this shift started at 8 a.m. and would go to 5 p.m., was 2 hours of always periodically going back into the store to make sure the cashiers need help. But something spooky happened outside during lot at around 9 p.m. a.m. Sorry, a.m. And that was that there was an older woman who was trying to leave the parking lot of the store I work at. But instead of pressing on the brake to slowly get out of the parking lot, she instead pressed the gas. And she ended up scraping the side of a car, bumping into the back of a car that was in front of her and pushing it out into the middle of the parking lot. Then she ended up turning, making a U-turn and then severely hitting a truck, causing good damage to both the truck and her vehicle. And then eventually doing a U-turn into the front of the store and then stopping, and then a whole bunch of people came out to see what was going on. Luckily, she was not injured and nobody was injured, just the cars. The police were called, the paramedics were called, all to see what was going on and to pick her up. Whoa! I was pushing carts at the time, and I was out in front of the store when it happened. Had I been in the middle of the parking lot instead of right in front of the store I work at when she did what she did, I probably wouldn't be here to tell the tale right now. I'd either be in a hospital or 6 feet underground. So, yeah, pretty spooky. Now, after that whole scary incident, it was time to do, I think, an hour of bagging, which was pretty good. I do remember there was quite a few coworkers who asked what was going on, and I described the whole story to them. Yeah, pretty scary. Then, after an hour of bagging, I believe I had an hour of sweeps. But I hadn't taken my first break yet. I'm supposed to take it about 2 hours into the shift, but instead I basically got caught up bagging for the customers because there was a lot of them, probably because it's the 4th of July holiday coming up. But I did ask for my break about 50 minutes after the second hour, and I was told yes. And little did I know it, but one of our coworkers who is working as a baker in the bakery department is going to retire by the end of this week on Friday. So there was a little surprise party held for this person, and I just so happened to walk in the middle of it, which I was not expecting. But I'm glad that I was there for it, because even though I didn't really know this individual on a more personal level, I remember I used to make salads before I could drive at my job and eat those salads. And one day, this person decided to allow me to try uh, kale from their garden, which was very nice and sweet. So, being able to see them off and being aware that they were signing off today was a very good thing, and I'm glad I was there for it. For sure. I even hid behind the desk when they walked up and then jumped out yelling surprise to delight them. So that was awesome. Now, I then walked downstairs and continued or started my sweep duties. Nothing too crazy to report there. Went by smoothly. And then it was time to go home for lunch, so I drove home. And for lunch, I had beans, a special meat that I'm forgetting the name of right now, that's a Mexican dish, and bacon, and a flour tortilla. The fresh one you have to cook. I put it all together, and the beans and the bacon were very, very tasty. Although probably not too good in terms of cholesterol and sodium level. I did feel like my heart probably should have been spared from that, but I wanted to try it and I thought it was really, really good. At least in terms of taste. And then probably not so much in terms of health. And, yeah, that's what I had for lunch. I ended up going back to work after having dessert, which included a frozen recess and a was the other thing? Oh yeah, Haagen-Dazs ice cream bar. When and a cup of coffee again. I did that face because recently my mom went to the dentist today to get a filling on her tooth, and apparently what the dentist told her was that she needs to lay off the coffee because coffee is acidic to her teeth. So that's why I made that face. I'm like, oh, maybe I should drink less coffee. Probably would be better for me too. Well, anyways, went back to work. It was a good first hour of lot once again. Thankfully, no scary car accidents. And then there was an hour of bagging, which nothing really crazy happened. I kind of kept quiet during that hour. Didn't really act too animated or crazy throughout that whole time. And then the last 2 hours was spent doing sweeps. I wouldn't say much crazy happened there either. Although I did share a cool a fist pump technique to one of the coworkers where you know, hit their fist, then you go up, and then you psh, like a firework. I actually learned that from a coworker from the produce area. Really cool person for sure. But yeah, other than that, sweeps was pretty standard. I sweeped the floors in produce. I sweeped the floors in the break room. And I sweep the floors throughout the store. And one notable thing I have to say is remember, well, it's been honestly a really long time since I made this video, but I thought, like, I don't even know how many videos ago, that we'd be getting rid of the physical paper sign in for the sweeps. But then the physical papers return about a day and a half to 2 days later. And so it's like, oh, well, I guess I'll sign these then. Now they don't want you to sign the physical paper, and that started today. So, even though it seemed like they were done with the physical paper thing, like however long ago I said they were done with that, and then it came back, now apparently they've taken away, and that was on June 30th. So, rest in peace, physical sign in. You were a good one. I thought you were cool. I liked signing my silly initial, which included the N and the A, and then a little, like, iris in the middle of the A, sort of like a wink like this. So the fact I won't be able to do that anymore, unless of course it's signing off for doing closing duties, will be sorely missed. Had been doing it since September of 2021 to June of 2025. That's a good, like, little over 3 years. Rest in peace. Anyways, I punched out. I grabbed 2 cupcakes from the break room. a vanilla and a chocolate. I said goodbye to everybody, drove home, and then I ate the cupcakes with some coffee. Again, I know. While watching a new Digital Foundry Direct at 2x speed. Um, because it was like 2 hours long and I just wanted to watch it in 1 hour. And it was pretty good. I mean, pretty interesting technologically wise. Um, got to learn some new news. Yeah, apparently the screen on the Switch 2 got tested for input latency, and the input latency is actually slightly worse than the Switch 1, which is very confusing for sure. Then I had a little watch of what was called a Video Dojo Game Builder Garage Direct. And it was basically there was this guy on YouTube who started a fan community around the Switch Game Builder Garage, where he basically was showcasing various games made by fans of his channel who were working on making their own stuff. And it was pretty cool. The last game shown off was so impressive I just had to download it, to the point where I actually had been unsubscribed from my Nintendo online account because I don't really use the online that much, and I haven't really touched any of the online games that much either in like a good half a year. So I was like, well, I really wouldn't want to pay for something I'm not really using. It doesn't make any sense. But I made the exception here because one of the Game Builder Garage games was a Mario Kart clone, and it looked really cool, and I just wanted to test it out. And yeah, it was pretty cool. But the last one was extremely impressive. Somebody on the internet somehow managed to make their version of the video game Undertale with nothing but Game Builder Garage components. Of course, you're only allowed to make it like little mini games with the app, but they broke their game down into 13 parts. And apparently this is like a demo. And it's like introduction to the first 40 minutes of the game, and the actual game's going to be like 4 hours long or something like that. But these 40 minutes are available to play on Game Builder Garage, and it's basically a fan game for Undertale, but starring the guy who runs the YouTube channel for this Game Builder Garage app, and it's extremely impressive. Like it looks good, it runs good, it has its own music. The gameplay for it is like a perfect reflection of the Undertale gameplay. It's just honestly one of the most impressive things I've ever seen for any self-made game building project ever. So seeing that was really mind-blowing for sure. But yeah, I actually did play the first part of 13 of it. And it was pretty good, pretty impressive. Captured the vibe, look, and feel of the Undertale game very well. And who knows, maybe I'll continue the rest of it if I feel like it. Well, anyways, then it was time for dinner, which included a fish fillet sandwich, um, and then potato soup. My mom made soup because she couldn't eat anything yet because her tooth was healing. That was like physical food. So yeah, I had some of that soup. It was very, very good. Had some cheese grated on top of it. Then I just suddenly felt really, really tired. So I said I was going to take a nap, and I ended up going to bed and waking up at like 3:30 in the morning. And I realized, oh, I haven't made a new update video. So here it is. And I also haven't done my going to bed routine, which includes taking my vitamins and brushing my teeth. So I really should do that right now. So I'm going to do that. Oh yeah, and then I am taking my car to the mechanic tomorrow because apparently the engine light was blinking, which has me a little worried. The weird thing is, when I flip the car on with a key, the dashboard, all of the lights turned on, and normally the check engine light's always like on, um but this time, as the key was hanging into the ignition with the dashboard lighting up, the check engine started to blink about like a minute or two after the key was put in the ignition and it was in standby mode. So, not exactly sure what that means, but I don't really want to take any chances, so I'm gonna get it diagnosed by the mechanic tomorrow morning at like 8 a.m. Maybe that's why I went to sleep early, because I was like exhausted of all the things that were happening, all the things that I need to do today. So I ended up going to sleep because of that. But, anyways, that's pretty much the day. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye, everybody.